What if the killer was hiding in her house the entire time? Imagine a home that appears flawless from the outside, a place where every smile and every handshake hides a secret too heavy to bear. In a quiet California neighborhood, a family once celebrated for their warmth and perfection carried a burden unknown to those around them. Tonight, we begin a journey into a story that shook a community to its core. A single night changed everything, a night when a routine call turned into a message of terror, a call that hinted at mysteries lurking behind closed doors. You're about to hear how evidence nearly overlooked would challenge every assumption about this perfect family. This is not just another tale of crime. It is the story of a house, a family, and a moment when everything turned upside down. As we piece together the events of that fateful evening, we uncover a trail of clues that questioned what we once believed about safety and trust. Before we continue, ask yourself this: how well do you really know the people you see every day? Tonight, the truth emerges in unexpected ways, a truth that forces us to reconsider the faces behind the smiles we take for granted. By the end of our investigation, you will learn about a crucial piece of evidence that nearly slipped through the cracks. Prepare to question everything as we unravel a case that defies explanation and challenges the idea of a perfect life. In this quiet California community, a family stood as a beacon of unity and trust. Archival photos show smiles that lit up every room, home videos capture joyful moments, and newspaper clippings celebrate their achievements. Yet beneath these cherished memories lay a secret that would upend everything people believed. Neighbors remember a family whose warmth and charm radiated every Sunday dinner and friendly wave. One longtime resident recalls, "They always seemed so happy, yet there was a hint of something unspoken." This small remark now takes on a chilling significance, as we begin to question what hidden truths lay behind those familiar faces. Among the cherished mementos, a few details start to stand out. A brief mention in an old interview speaks of a mysterious guest, someone who appeared without warning and left as quietly as they had come. Another account describes an unexplained absence, a moment when a usual presence was unexpectedly missing. These fragments of memory are the first signs that not everything was as perfect as it appeared. Official records and community reports, initially dismissed as minor anomalies, now raise fresh doubts. Local accounts of unusual activity, seemingly trivial at the time, hint at a pattern that no one could ignore. The family's flawless reputation began to fracture under the weight of these small yet unsettling clues, prompting questions that would soon escalate. As we piece together these early fragments, a pressing question emerges: how could a family celebrated for its unity and warmth harbor secrets that would eventually shake the entire community? Every detail we reveal comes from verified sources and respectful interviews, as we strive to honor those involved while uncovering the facts behind this true crime story. With each new account, the public image of this once admired family is slowly transformed. What began as everyday moments now raises concerns, leading us toward a mystery that challenges our assumptions about safety, trust, and the nature of a seemingly perfect life. And as we prepare to uncover more, one question remains at the forefront: what lies beneath the facade of perfection? Stay with us as we continue this investigation, where every piece of evidence adds another twist to a case that defies easy answers. The fateful night on a night that would change everything, a quiet call shattered the calm. The emergency line crackled with urgency. A woman's voice, strained and desperate, reporting an incident that defied explanation. It was a call that would echo through the community for months. In that moment, a series of events unfolded like dominoes: a knock at the door that came too late, a door left ajar, and a glimpse of a figure that no one could quite place. Witnesses later recalled hearing faint, hurried whispers as if someone was trying to send a final, cryptic message before disappearing into the darkness. A nearby resident recounted, "I remember hearing a sound that wasn't just wind, it felt like a warning." The details were scarce, yet every fragment of testimony pointed to a disturbance that broke the illusion of a peaceful life. Amid the chaos, police radio chatter confirmed a flurry of reports, each more confusing than the last. A brief snippet of conversation mentioned an unaccounted-for call that hinted at more than just a random break-in. And just as the community began to piece together these fragments, something unexpected happened, a discovery that would leave everyone questioning what they truly knew about that night. In the days that followed, local detectives gathered every scrap of evidence they could find. Interviews with first responders painted a picture of a night filled with unanswered questions. One officer recalled, "We arrived to find a scene that didn't add up." There was evidence of a struggle, yet nothing definitive pointed to one clear motive. Forensic teams collected photographs, analyzed DNA samples, and mapped the layout of the house where every room seemed to hide its own secret. The evidence was complex, anomalies that hinted at connections not immediately visible to the untrained eye. Investigators uncovered a series of red herrings that muddied the waters. Conflicting witness statements, small details that seemed off, a misfiled phone call record, a single piece of broken glass in an unexpected place, forced detectives to keep questioning their assumptions. A map of the neighborhood, marked with locations of reported disturbances and unusual sightings, became a focal point. Each pin on that map represented a story, a piece of the puzzle that had yet to be fully understood. And just when the investigation seemed to reach a standstill, a new piece of evidence emerged that threatened to change the course of the inquiry. Behind the picture-perfect smiles and carefully maintained routines, a darker narrative was beginning to surface. Conversations with family, friends, and neighbors revealed whispers of past conflicts and private disputes that had been carefully concealed behind a facade of unity. One relative mentioned, there were always little arguments, secrets that were never meant to be spoken about in public. These remarks, once dismissed as the normal quirks of family life, now took on a more weighty significance. Interviews with those closest to the family hinted at deeper issues, a tension that had built over time, hidden behind polite smiles and community accolades. A trusted confidant recalled an incident at a family gathering where voices were raised over a matter no one could later confirm. It was as if the pressure of maintaining a perfect image had pushed some to the edge. The more the investigation uncovered, the more it appeared that the night's chaos might have been the tipping point of a long-hidden struggle. As details piled up, the question arose, could these personal battles have been the spark that ignited that fateful evening? With each new revelation, the profiles of those involved grew more complex. Psychological evaluations of key family members, compiled from court records and interviews with professionals, hinted at long-standing issues that no one had expected. There was a pattern, a series of small, almost invisible cracks in a facade that had once been seen as unbreakable. And as we examine these hidden secrets, the tension mounts. The clues, each carrying its own weight, ask a simple yet unsettling question: what pushed this family over the edge? Just when the investigation seemed mired in ambiguity, a critical piece of evidence surfaced that redefined the entire case. A forgotten diary, tucked away in an overlooked corner of the home, revealed details that challenged every previous assumption. Its pages contained entries filled with raw emotion, documenting personal struggles and moments of vulnerability that had been kept hidden for years. The diary spoke of internal conflicts, unspoken resentments, and decisions made in the quiet of isolation, details that hinted at a motive too profound to ignore. An unexplained phone call record added another layer of complexity. The log showed a call made in the dead of night to a number that no one in the family had ever mentioned. The mystery deepened as investigators found that this number had connections to an unknown individual with a past shrouded in controversy. Was this call the final act in a premeditated plan, or was it an impulsive cry for help that spiraled out of control? The evidence began to force a confrontation with uncomfortable truths about the family's inner workings. As the investigation gathered momentum, a shocking twist emerged from a trusted family member whose behavior defied all previous expectations. Their actions, recorded in unexpected texts and unexpected testimonies, cast doubt on the established narrative. Every new detail raised more questions. What was really happening behind closed doors? Could someone have orchestrated events in a way that no one saw coming? Now, with the diary in hand and the mysterious phone call under scrutiny, the case stands at a crossroads. The accumulating evidence suggests that nothing was as it seemed, forcing us to question every piece of the puzzle. At this critical juncture, one question remains at the forefront of our minds: was this the result of a carefully planned act, or a desperate reaction fueled by a lifetime of hidden turmoil? As we leave this segment, consider the implications of these revelations. What do you believe ignited that night of chaos? Were the seeds of this tragedy sown long before the events unfolded, or was this an isolated moment of catastrophic failure? The answers lie hidden in the details, waiting to be uncovered in the next part of our investigation. Stay tuned as we continue to examine each new piece of evidence, and remember, every fact we uncover brings us closer to understanding the truth behind this perplexing case. Now that we have gathered every piece of evidence and listened to each testimony, the time has come to piece the puzzle together. The investigation led us through a maze of conflicting narratives, each adding another layer to a story that defies simple answers. We revisit that fateful night, a night marked by that desperate call, a series of strange clues, and the steady unraveling of a family's carefully maintained image. Every document, every recorded conversation, and every forensic result builds a timeline that stretches from the early hours of that night to the days and months that followed. Every statement from first responders and detectives has contributed to a picture that remains both compelling and unresolved. For instance, the unusual phone log that surfaced early on raised questions about who was behind that call. Forensic reports from the scene, confirming traces of evidence in unexpected locations, hint at a planned act or a hidden struggle that erupted all at once. We must remember that while every detail adds weight to the narrative, not all leads have been fully explained. The accounts of neighbors and community members, who once saw nothing out of the ordinary, now take on new meaning when viewed through the lens of what has been uncovered. Throughout the investigation, several elements have stood out. The diary, filled with raw emotions and accounts of personal turmoil, and that unexplained phone call from a number no one recognized, both have left investigators questioning the real motive behind the chaos. When experts re-examined these clues, they discovered inconsistencies that hint at a possible long-standing feud or a series of unspoken grievances. It is this combination of evidence and testimony that paints a picture of a family caught between maintaining appearances and hiding painful truths. As we connect the dots, the timeline becomes clearer. We see a series of small disturbances and seemingly isolated incidents that, when combined, form a narrative of tension and internal strife. There were moments when minor disputes, once dismissed as normal family disagreements, began to reveal darker undertones. Conversations with close friends and relatives now hint at long-standing issues that may have been ignored for far too long. Each piece of evidence, from physical traces at the scene to the confessions of those who once trusted the family's pristine image, raises one crucial question: how did these unresolved conflicts trigger a chain of events that left so many searching for answers? With every new revelation, the investigation forces us to reconsider what we thought we knew about this case. A series of documented exchanges between family members, verified by multiple sources, indicate that there was more happening behind closed doors than anyone had imagined. It is this shocking accumulation of facts that now leaves us with an unsettling possibility, one that challenges our assumptions about who can be trusted and what truly lies beneath the surface of a seemingly ordinary life. Even as the evidence points in multiple directions, a final piece of the puzzle remains out of reach. A critical clue, found tucked away in overlooked records, suggests that there might be a missing link. A connection that could change everything. Yet, despite the exhaustive work of investigators, one major question remains unanswered: was the tragedy a culmination of hidden malice that had been simmering for years, or did one unforeseen event set off a chain reaction that no one could have foreseen? The impact of these revelations stretches far beyond the confines of the investigation. Families and community members, once united in shared joy, now face a long road of uncertainty and pain. The ripple effects of that fateful night continue to haunt those who were closest to the family, with some neighbors expressing shock and disbelief that such a tragedy could occur behind closed doors. While many continue to honor the memory of those affected, Others find themselves trapped in a web of unanswered questions that linger like an unyielding echo. Authorities have confirmed that every step of this investigation has been guided by verified facts and careful interviews with those directly involved. In keeping with our commitment to accuracy and respect for the victims and their families, we present this case with the utmost sensitivity. We recognize the weight of these events, and our narrative is built solely on credible sources and confirmed evidence. Any similarity to ongoing investigations is purely coincidental, and we encourage viewers to refer to official statements for the most up-to-date information. As we bring together the threads of this complex case, a final synthesis of the clues offers us a tentative conclusion, but not a closure. The diary's entries, the puzzling phone records, and the whispered accounts from within the community compel us to ask, was this tragedy the result of hidden malice that festered beneath a perfect facade, or did a single, unforeseen chain reaction cause everything to crumble? Before we wrap up, consider this: each piece of evidence not only brings us closer to the truth but also deepens the mystery. As we count down the final moments of our investigation, reflect on these questions. Could a hidden secret have been the spark that ignited this chain of events, or was it a desperate act born of a lifetime of unspoken pain? In these final minutes, let these questions challenge your understanding of trust and deception in the world of true crime. We leave you with one lingering question that we hope will spark discussion and debate. What do you believe truly happened that night? Is there a clue we missed that could change the entire narrative? Was this cold case a tragic accident of fate, or was it a carefully orchestrated act that defied everyone's expectations? Your thoughts are important. What do you think sparked this tragedy? Comment below with your theories and insights. If you believe the investigation may have overlooked a critical piece of evidence, let us know, hit like if you think so, and share your perspective. Every comment helps us unravel more of this unsolved mystery and keeps the conversation alive. As we sign off, remember that this story is far from over. We plan to explore further developments, including new evidence and fresh interviews that might shed light on the unanswered questions. Stay tuned for our next installment, where we promise to bring you deeper insights into this perplexing case. If you found this investigation compelling, please share this video with friends and family who appreciate a good true crime story. And don't forget to subscribe for updates on our ongoing series, because every detail matters when uncovering the truth. Thank you for following this journey through a story of hidden truths and unanswered questions. What do you believe was the turning point that set off this chain reaction? We await your thoughts and theories as we continue to search for answers in a case that refuses to be fully explained.